School. She is vice president of the Dartmouth High Theater Company, where she has had the opportunity to choreograph the sold-out musical Elf. She is also a track team member and one of our student council members. She chose to participate in TED today because she really wants to spread the idea of the importance of the arts and theater. She chose the topic theater because she has a passion for theater and the idea of performing live for an audience she thinks that everyone should experience at least once in their lives. Please welcome McKenzie Canuel as she presents The World is a Stage.
Okay, I know what you guys are all thinking right now. Oh, she's a theater kid. She's just about to break out into a dance number or sing a song. Well, I kind of hate to burst all your bubbles, but I can't sing, and I'm not really in the mood to dance. So, if theater isn't really about singing and dancing, then what is theater? I have one example for you, and he is the epitome of all the examples in the world, and that is Shakespeare. No other plays matter but his because he is theater. I'm just kidding. I'm not the biggest fan of Shakespeare at all. I know, shocking, right? Because theater kids are so used to understanding Shakespeare because they do it all the time and we read about him. My favorite playwright actually happens to be Lin-Manuel Miranda, the legend who wrote Hamilton and In the Heights. Both playwrights are so successful because they use these three elements that make their shows well known. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret because I'm about to show you them. So rule number one, comfortable chairs. Now, I don't know about all of you guys, but I'm not going to be sitting at a 2.5-hour musical, sitting on the sports benches that you go to see in a sports game because that sounds so painful. That's why plush seats are a definite must. Now, rule number two, this is kind of the most obvious one, but I still had to include it anyways. It's a stage. The whole performance revolves around it because it's the main event. With good lighting, the audience is able to be in pitch black, so the actors could not be freaking out right now. That's why I don't really have to see you guys. And it's better because it's not in the outdoors, because the wind and all like the weather conditions could actually ruin a performance. And now rule number three. This rule is always forgotten, but I truly believe it's the most essential one of them all. Because without them, the audience members would be so lost and they wouldn't be able to find their seats. So we have to thank our ushers. So if you're going to be successful, you're going to need them. Now that you have officially achieved all three elements, you can now bring the story to life. Now, something that I find extremely interesting about being in theater is that humans are the only species in the world that can create theater. I mean, you don't really see a squirrel performing in front of his other squirrel friends on a daily basis, right? So, I mean, in essence, by understanding theater, we are able to understand humans itself. Us humans, we like to communicate a lot because communication is key, of course. Most of our problems exist today is because we aren't communicating with one another. Think about it. In Shakespeare's play, Romeo and Juliet, if one of the supporting characters spoke about the relationship to their parents, their lives could have been spared and the feud probably could have ended in a positive way. Some would disagree, but theater is based on everyday life, and by understanding it, we can take control of the things that affect us. My experience from the Dartmouth High Theater Company has taught me some great communication skills, along with making some new friends that would last forever. Our director has a saying. He always tells us before a show, and after a show, of course, we join as strangers, we become friends, and we leave as family. This is the motto of our theater company. He refers to us as the island of misfit toys, because all of us come from different areas. And if we feel like we don't fit into a sports team or like even an academic classroom or an after-school program, we'll fit into theater. And theater has taught me, I now became the nobody into the somebody. Since theater requires communication, whether it's verbal or not, it helps improve relationships because the message is in the show and it's always being presented. Being in theater helps improve our self-knowledge because we are able to put ourselves in someone else's shoes and learn how their mind works and how they are acting and what they are feeling towards another character. Self-knowledge also shows the different environments and what we become. In The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy wants a new chance at a new life. So she wants to go to Oz, and when she actually gets there, she then realizes home is where she belongs. But sadly, theater is no longer as popular as it used to be because of the use of technology. It is predicted by 2019, over 2.5 billion people will now own smartphones, which is actually 36% of the world's population. Apps like Netflix and Hulu make it seem very convenient for TV shows and movies to be on there, but it's also isolating people to stay in their rooms locked up and not communicating with one another. Theater is live, and you're all here today, right now. Think about it. So take a look around, actually do it, like look around at each other in the audience. Now, if you notice, you might not recognize every single person here, but that's okay. But you now established a connection with one another because you are all watching my TED Talk here right now in the same room and at the same time. That is something Netflix could never do. I mean, granted, you can have friends come over and watch like an episode of Grey's Anatomy and stuff, but once you come back to that episode and rewatch it, the actors are doing the same thing at the same time. They're breathing and they're saying their lines all at the same exact time and second with no change at all. But if you come to a performance at theater and come multiple nights, anything can happen, and I literally mean anything. One night, a prop could fall, someone could drop a line and they skip several pages, or flying monkeys could literally run across the stage right now. Shawn Mendes could walk through the back door holding a box of pizza and say, "Hey, did somebody order a pizza?" The possibilities are endless, and that's why you need to expect the unexpected when it comes to theater. And you guys think theater is meant for entertainment, right? No. Theater is actually meant to bore you. You want to be sitting on your seats being, "Oh my gosh, when can I get out of this?" I'm just kidding. The main point of theater is actually to help you experience the past. The cool thing about theater is that it's the only time where you can see a problem forming while it's being solved at the same exact time. It also lets people learn creatively instead of reading about it in a textbook. I don't know about you, but I've listened to the cabinet battles of Hamilton's musical in order to pass my US history test. I mean, who else listened to that? Because I know some of you did, I promise you. The theater also helps understand cultures. One of the best shows that really show this is my all-time favorite show, In the Heights by Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course. The show is phenomenal, including the soundtrack. It expresses some Latin culture and it also incorporates some rap in it. It is truly a blessing, and I really think you all should give it a listen. Performing can be seen as a looking glass, because this allows us to see the current problems of today's society, and it also helps us find a way to solve them. And last but not least, but being in theater is being creative, because deep down, the arts do matter, and it is in all of us, and we are the entertainers of the world. And as Shakespeare once said, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts in his acts, and being 7 ages." Thank you.